Head into 2026, is this the right time to pull the trigger and buy a house, trade up, buy an investment? I'm going to look at the stats and see what is bubbling along in the housing market. Of course, just looking at auction rooms and things, you would think that there is a buzz on, but what's the evidence say? Well, if we look at the REINZ's median house price stats, surprising numbers actually. Auckland really leading the charge now at 5.9% increase. That's October compared to September. Those will even include sale and purchase agreements that went unconditional in October actually. So settlement possibly in November, with some of them settling this month. So yeah, 5.9%. Now that is interesting, but it's even more interesting if you think about the previous month, where the increase month on month was 2.9%. So definitely elevated activity going on, feeding through the actual sales data. The other point I take out of this as well is the previous month did show, when we look across the nation, you saw a lot of flat movement, even negative momentum going on. Fast forward to the latest stats, and you can actually see most of the country, most of the regions in positive territory with month-on-month data. So interesting there. Let's drill down a little bit into Auckland and see what it's telling us, like right up to the minute kind of data on Auckland itself. So, Auckland City, which actually includes, it actually borders right from Papakura to Waitakere. These are the old regions. Auckland City, 10.8% up compared to September. So, October compared to September. So I think that was quite substantial actually. And we're definitely feeling that with a lot more home buyers having to compete for houses with lawns, as I've mentioned before. Still a lot of options out there for townhouses, subdued buying going on there, but we expect things to spill over at some point. But right now, the interesting thing is, compared to the previous month, where we actually had some regions in Auckland flat and maybe even one negative, to now with all regions in Auckland in positive territory when we look at the median house price stats here. So all in all positive now. Should you pull the trigger now and get cracking and do your trade up? Trading up a house, I think the nice thing is, it doesn't really matter, because as long as you're selling and buying in the same market, if you do it later, yeah, you'll get a better price for your house, but the one you're buying is going to be also moving up. However, I guess the thing is, if you are going to be trading up and you're thinking about moving into a house with a lawn and you're sitting on a townhouse or vice versa, then of course things could be a bit different in the timing. Well, the long and the short of it is, there is not a lot of supply of houses with lawns. So if you want to buy one of those, you better get a crack on. In terms of we're talking about Auckland here predominantly, and the other main centres are also starting to move along. But if you're thinking about investing, now investing is, again, there'll always be a property to invest in. So you just got to kind of make a move when you feel it's right for you, and that comes to cash flow. So investing in property can be a long-term thing. So you kind of got to plan for whether your cash flow is robust enough to hang in there for 5 to 7 years, if that's what it takes. If we enter another lull in the property market, unlikely, but geez, stranger things have happened. So I think, yeah, that's my take on these stats anyway. Interesting data, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot more activity in January, February. Little kind of point here, that if you are wanting to have a deeper dive into these stats, it's available on the REINZ website under property reports. Word of caution, some regions, it's important to actually look at the sales count as well, because smaller sample sizes may not always reflect what's really going on the ground when it comes to the median house price. Now, yeah, I think the only other thing I wanted to say was have a good Christmas if you don't hear from me before then, and if you're going off to a holiday early December, enjoy. It's definitely a much nicer time with these much lower interest rates around.